Okay, thank you for joining this evening. Our webinar topic is going to be optimizing website conversion and ROI, return on investment. The format this evening will have all attendees listening in on mute, and that way we can ensure good sound quality, nice clarity for everybody listening in. We are recording the webinar this evening, and we'll be posting it to our website. So for those who have to leave partway through the webinar or who want to catch it later on, that should be available for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. My background, I'm one of the founders of WEO Media, and started my career in engineering, got an MBA after about 10 years, and really the last 10, 11 years have been just doing exclusively entrepreneurship and marketing. And in 2009, we started WEO Media, and the company has grown pretty significantly since then. As we've gotten into the dental space, we've become experts in dental marketing. And in fact, as of this year, I'm now a columnist, a regular monthly columnist in 5 different magazines and journals in the dental industry, most notably Dental Products Report, and then several others. Our company, we're a full-service dental marketing agency. What that means is we have a full range of marketing services, which I'll explain in just a minute. We're a Google-certified partner company and work with hundreds of practices all over North America. The reason I kind of give some of this background information about WEO Media is so that you understand kind of as we're talking through these topics this evening, that the information is based on our experience. It's based on actual case data from hundreds of clients that we work with. So we know what works, we know what doesn't work. And as we've been working with dentists over the last 6 or 7 years, we've actually retained a very high amount of our clients. Between 92 to 95% of our clients stay with us every year, even though our services are offered on a month-to-month basis with no long-term contract. And so we're pretty proud of that. We really focus on really actually doing marketing. There's a lot of stuff in this industry that's really presented and it's fairly templated and not super effective. So what we like to do when we do webinars, white papers, case studies, blog posts, all that good stuff, is we really try to dig into the details we're going to talk about tonight, or some of the details. A little bit more information about WEO Media, and then we'll get started on the topic. As I mentioned, our company is a full-service marketing agency, so we provide everything online from websites and search engine optimization, pay-per-click ads, social media, videos, online reputation management, and so on. Very full service. And one last thing about our company, this year we just won for the first time the Best of Class award for the dental industry. This award will be given to us at the ADA conference this October in Denver. So we're pretty excited about that. Our company is really starting to get recognized as the national leader in dental marketing. Okay, so that's some background information about WEO Media. Now let's talk about the topic this evening. How do we optimize a website? How do we get better conversion? How do we get a better return on our investment when we're talking about websites and online marketing? And I think that to answer that question, we first need to start with a fundamental understanding of some details around websites themselves. What is a website? Well, that's kind of a silly question. I think we all know what a website is. But the reason I'm asking this is if we look at the screen here, we see what we would normally see with the website. We see graphics, we see the doctor, we see some text, we see a logo, some colors, and so forth. This is what people see when we look at the website. Now, what's interesting about this is also that same website, okay? Not even that whole website, just that one page of the website. The one page, just the home page, has 544 lines of code in just this page. So when you consider the whole website's probably got dozens and dozens of pages, a website, as far as a search engine is concerned, has thousands and thousands of lines of code that look just like this. So what's important to realize when we talk about websites is there are really 2 audiences for a website, people and search engines. Both audiences are very important, and both audiences have fairly distinctively different things that they care about. For example, people, the things that we care about are fairly obvious. We want a nice designed website. It should look modern and professional. It should be easy to navigate, easy to find what I'm looking for, have good, useful educational information and content, contact information, and really it should encourage us to take the next step. At a high level, those are the things that we're looking for in a website that's going to make it useful and engaging for us as people. Now, as you notice, this next list here for search engines is totally different. Search engines don't really care about much of the stuff that we care about. For example, one thing search engines care a lot about is what's called unique content. What that means is the content on your website, if you did not write it or hire somebody to write it specifically and uniquely only for your website, then odds are that content exists on many, many other dental websites. For example, if you go to a state dental association meeting and you talk to, like, there's half a dozen companies selling websites, and you buy a website and they throw it up for you in a little amount of time, odds are very good that website is full of duplicate content. Now, to people, the first audience, we don't really care. As long as it's technically correct, we're fine with that. But the search engines, they actually want that content unique. And so that's really important in terms of how they're going to rank your website. There are lots of other things about websites that search engines care about, but to give you an idea, it's a very different list than what people care about in terms of how to get ranked well on Google. I don't want to go into a lot of detail on this because this is really more well served in a webinar on search engine optimization, which we have done in the past and we will do again later this year. So we'll dig into more of this stuff later on. But just to give you a flavor, there's a lot of stuff search engines care about that are very different from what people care about. So that's websites. An obvious component of websites is now mobile optimization, mobile websites. And we've got a few options here. One of them is do nothing. Another option is responsive design, and another option is mobile optimized website design. So what that means is, what does mobile optimization even mean in the first place? Well, if we look at the little images here on the screen, we see a smartphone, we see an iPhone and an iPad, right? Everybody's familiar with these. A mobile website or a mobile-friendly website means that the website, when I view that website on my smartphone or my tablet, the website's going to automatically resize based on the viewing screen that's looking at the website. That means it's mobile-friendly. Now, there's two ways to accomplish that mobile friendliness. You can have a responsive design, or you can have a mobile dedicated, mobile optimized website. Either one of them is fine. There is no difference in terms of how Google is going to rank you on search engines for SEO. There's a lot of false information right now going around the dental industry saying you have to be responsive. That's just simply not true. As long as you're mobile-friendly, that's what Google says you need to be. And how you get there, there's different ways to get there, and as long as you do it, you're fine. At WEO Media, we do both. We build responsive websites. We also build mobile dedicated websites. Either one is fine. We really kind of cater that and customize it to what the client likes. Bottom line is, though, we need to do one or the other because about half of all traffic now is on mobile devices. So if you have a dental website and you think, oh, I've got my patient forms on there, mapped to my office, information about the staff and the doctor and all that, that's all great information to have, but realize that half of the people coming to your website, most likely on average, are looking at your website on a mobile phone. If you've never pulled up your website on your mobile phone, I highly recommend you do that. Maybe do it right now while you're listening to me. Check it out, see what it looks like. Here's some pointers. Number one, last April, Google made a big change. Here's why this matters. So last April, Google changed their algorithm. They had a big change. What they started doing was evaluating and ranking your website on a mobile device separately from your desktop computer. What that means is if your website doesn't meet some specific criteria for mobile friendliness, then Google's going to rank it lower on a mobile search. So if I'm on a mobile phone, I search for dentist Seattle, Washington, and the dental websites in Seattle that are not mobile friendly, they're going to rank a lot worse. If I do that same exact search on my laptop or my desktop computer, I could see different search results because the ranking is not going to be affected by, on my desktop won't be affected by if it's mobile friendly. But if I do that same search on a mobile phone, I'll get different search results based on which websites are mobile friendly. Hope that makes sense because it's really important since half of your traffic is probably coming from mobile. You could be losing a lot of traffic and a lot of opportunities if you're not mobile friendly. Google offers us a test. It's called their Google Developers Mobile Friendly Test. And what this is, it's a little website piece of software that we can use. We can analyze any website. It only takes about a minute. So what we do is we plug your website domain in here, and it'll tell us there are 4 criteria to determine if your website's mobile friendly or not. This is a website that actually fails all 4 criteria, and you can see right here what Google will say. The text is too small to read. The mobile viewport is not set. That's a thing in the code. The content is wider than the screen. That's a formatting problem. And the links are too close together. That means if I try to press a link with my finger and there's another link too close to it, it's going to be hard for me to actually click on a unique with my finger. That's what that means. So those are the 4 things that Google looks at. Now, if you fail any one of these things, you fail the test entirely. It's either a pass-fail. There's no grades here. It's either pass-fail. If you fail one, you fail all. And so then you're considered not mobile friendly and you're going to rank worse. So I don't want to beat this dead horse here, but it's really important that you become mobile friendly on your website. If you're not sure if your site is mobile friendly, send us an email, info@weomedia.com. We'll have one of our consultants run the test, get back to you. It's not a sales pitch. It's just like, here's the information. If you want to ask them questions, they're happy to answer those questions for you. But if you're not sure, please email us and we'll help you out. Another way you can kind of ballpark it, this is not an exact way to tell, but here's another kind of guideline for you to consider. If you look at these two images on the screen, the image on the left with the red circle with the cross on it, that's not mobile friendly. You can see just by looking at that, the text is very small, the buttons are small, the images are small, everything's just too small. You can tell it's not been rearranged and reformatted for a smaller screen. That's not mobile friendly. On the right, you can see that the buttons are much bigger. You can see the text and so forth. Now obviously this is kind of Latin placeholder type stuff. It's just a simple graphic to demonstrate a point. But if you look at your mobile website on your phone and it looks more like the one on the left, then you probably have a problem. But even if it looks like the one on the right, you still may fail one of those 4 criteria. You can't tell by simply looking at it. The only way to really know is to run the Google test. Here are examples of 3 mobile websites we've built for doctors. On the left, we've got a doctor in Florida. The middle and the right are doctors in Texas. And you can see there's different ways to accomplish mobile friendliness, but in all cases, the images are big, the text is big enough, you can click on the links, and the calls to action are there and they're clear. So these are just some examples of how one might design a mobile-friendly website. Okay, so that's websites, that's mobile. We need to understand those things because we got to have those fundamentals in place. We have to have a nice modern website that's going to be search engine friendly and mobile friendly for the search engines. We got to make them happy, right? Because that's going to get us more traffic. The happier we make Google, the more Google is going to reward us with ranking. Higher ranking means more traffic, okay? So we want traffic, but once we have the traffic, what do we do with it? Well, now we talk about website conversion, okay? When we talk about online marketing, especially as it pertains to websites, there are really 2 things we need to primarily be concerned about, okay? The first thing is traffic. We need to drive traffic to your website. We do that through a combination of things. SEO means search engine optimization, right? That's what we talked about to help your site get ranked high on Google and Bing and Yahoo and so forth. The higher you rank on a Google search, the more traffic you're going to get. PPC is pay per click, also known as paid ads, AdWords, search engine marketing. It goes by a lot of names, but essentially it's just paying for ads to show up on Google in a preferential placement to drive traffic to your website. That traffic can be for targeted terms, targeted geographies, and so on. It's a great way to kind of tag on to your SEO strategy. The 2 complement each other really well. So SEO and pay-per-click, always a fundamental core of any marketing campaign online. Social media, also very important. Videos, online review sites, these have become hugely important over the last several years. We're going to have a webinar dedicated to just this topic later this year. Review sites such as Yelp, HealthGrades, Google+, Facebook, and others. Those are really important, and they also will drive traffic to your website. So there are just dozens and dozens of strategies to drive traffic to your website, okay? That's job 1, drive traffic. What's job 2? Traffic conversion, okay? We want to convert that traffic. So everybody who comes to your website who's not a current patient, but we want them to become a patient, we want to convert them, right? We want them to call the office, email the office, fill out an appointment request form. One of those 3 activities is primarily what we're trying to get them to do. We call that website conversion, okay? In the world of online marketing, we're really looking at a wide range of things to try to get results for our clients. So we've got dozens of strategies to generate traffic, and then there's a whole other set of criteria for how we convert that traffic, and that has much more to do with how the website is designed and things like that, and we'll talk about it here. So one of the things that we're concerned about is your conversion rate. This is one of the ways we kind of monitor and understand how a website is performing over time. What this means is, let's say, look at this little simple equation here. Website traffic is on the bottom. So let's say we have 100 people who came to our website this month, and we had 10 phone calls, 5 emails, and 5 appointment requests came through the website. So that would be a total of 20 response actions divided by 100 website traffic. Your conversion rate would be 20%. Okay, that would actually be really good. Usually it's not that high. If we can get a website into the double-digit range for conversion, we're pretty happy with that. Anything over 10% is pretty solid. Less than 10%, not terrible, but it could be better, right? We'd like to see it above 10%. So what this tells us is if we see a website and we're getting good ranking and we're getting lots of traffic, and then we can figure out the conversion rate, and the conversion rate's like at 7%, like, there's a missed opportunity here. We could be getting this practice better results with the existing traffic. Because sometimes people say, I need more patients, therefore I need to rank higher on Google. Well, that's half the equation, right? Traffic is half the equation, but conversion is the other half. And so, yes, we need to get you ranked high on Google for as many terms as possible and all those good things, right? But in addition to that, it's very important that we have a good, solid conversion rate. If you don't know what that is on your website, then it's driving a little bit blind through the night. You don't really know how your site's performing, and worse yet, you don't know if it's getting better or worse over time. So when we track traffic and conversion rate over time, we can have a good understanding of how this website's performing. And better yet, if we know, oh, this website's performing around 7% conversion, and we make some changes on the calls to action, maybe we add a nice video, we change the placement of the appointment request button, we do some things like that to improve the conversion rate. Now we see, oh, it went from 7% to 9%. Outstanding. We just got that practice, more new patients for the same exact budget and the same exact traffic. That's the importance of website conversion. A lot of things affect your conversion rate. I'm going to go through a list here, and then I'm going to show you about a half a dozen websites, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you can see some examples of some conversion elements that are done properly and some that maybe could be done a little bit better. Okay. First and foremost, the design and layout of the website. This is absolutely critical. It's got to be modern. It's got to be laid out properly. And what that means, I'll show you here in just a few minutes. Videos are very, very important. One of the most important things, probably the second most important thing you can do on a website to improve your conversion rate after the design and layout would be the use of videos. Lots of different things you can do with videos. You can have an overview video about your practice, put that right on the home page so everybody can see it. The 60 to 90 second overview of your practice, very powerful way to connect with people looking at your website. You could have patient testimonials. You could have FAQs, like maybe you're a periodontist and you want to provide some pre and post operative instructions on via video. Whatever, you could have all kinds of videos, but the use of videos are going to help people get educated, feel comfortable, and ultimately convert and call you. Content. This should go without saying. Your website should have good, solid content, right? It needs to be educational and engaging. Pictures and images. This is something that's done wrong on probably 80 to 90% of dental websites I ever look at. They use nothing but stock photos. I'll tell you for sure, if you can use actual photos, it will be much, much better than stock photos. Same thing with videos. It's fine to have some stock videos that explain, here's what a dental implant is, or here's what a veneer is. Those are fine. But you really should have real videos with real people, your patients, your staff. Those are impactful. Avoid minimal use of stock if you can. Calls to action. This would be an appointment request button, or here are the 3 primary services our office offers. We do dental implants and smile makeovers and cosmetic, or whatever they are, right? So we need to make those calls to action very clear. And again, I'm going to show you some examples of this in just a minute. How about the contact us options, right? You're on a website, okay, I'd like to contact these guys, and now I can't find their phone number. That's a disaster. It needs to be really, really easy to find the phone number. Of all the things that you could do to convert people, appointment request button, appointment request form, email, phone number, all those things, by far the most important thing is the phone number. Normally 90% or more of the conversion we get on a website is a phone call, okay? So if one simple thing, if you get nothing else out of this webinar, this evening, other than make your phone number really easy to find in big font on every page of your website. If you simply do that, that will help your conversion rate. Another thing is what's called above the fold. We'll talk about that here in a minute. That has to do with what really shows up on the screen when you're looking at it initially. And there's a lot of other things too. Harping on videos just a bit more. This is a study done by an organization called Search Engine Watch. Search Engine Watch is like a big national SEO expert group, and what they do is they provide resources for SEO agencies like WEO Media so that we can get better and better at our craft. It's kind of like a resource like for dentists. You might go to an AGD meeting, get your CE. Search Engine Watch is kind of like a resource like that for the SEO agencies. They provide a lot of research and educational information for us. And there's lots of blogs and forums and other things we subscribe to that help us educate about how do we do better SEO. But this is something that's universally, without a doubt, nobody would debate this. Video is super important for your SEO performance and for your website conversion performance. This study found landing pages, meaning a web page, any web page, that has a video is likely to generate between 400% to 700% higher engagement and response rates. So what that means is if we put a nice overview video on the homepage of your website, we're guaranteed to improve that response rate. It's going to happen for sure. So it's just simply something that every website should have an overview video on that homepage if you're a dental office. I hit on this briefly, above the fold. Above the fold means when you come to a website initially and you have not scrolled down yet to see what's down below, it's what you initially see at the top of that website without scrolling. That's above the fold. The most important things that affect conversion ideally should be either above the fold or near it. Okay? Your phone number, your appointment request button, those type of things. If they're above the fold on every page of your website, not just your home page, but on every page, that's going to improve your conversion rate. Okay, let's look at some examples here of some different websites that have maybe are emphasizing different elements that might affect conversion. Okay, here's an office with a typical kind of stock photo general dentist type website. Now they've got a phone number which I've got covered up here. They've got a contact us now button. What's interesting about this though, this is what we see above the fold. Okay, if this is like a computer screen and we're looking at it and it's not a PowerPoint, I'm just above the fold. Here's what we would see. Now what's interesting is this is not even the full homepage, right? This is just a part of the homepage. So if you can see this homepage now, it is huge. It goes on and on and on forever. It's about 7 full screens long at the whole thing. No one's going to scroll down this whole thing and no one's going to read this whole thing. It's just way too much text, okay? So now this office, I think what they're trying to do here is get some advantage on search engine performance. But in terms of what's above the fold, you don't want to design a website that has this much content because it's going to confuse people. Another thing that's really important, obviously, is having a modern design. This is an example I came across. We work with every type of dentist. We work with surgeons, periodontists, profs, ortho, perio, GP, everybody, right? We work with everybody. This is an oral surgery group I was talking to, and what I found interesting, not only was this website extremely old and basic, but it says there's a premier oral surgery center in their area. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, if I see a business that has a website this bad and this in their premier anything, I'm laughing my way to closing the browser, right? That's a joke. So, and this is a big mistake. Like for the specialists on the call this evening, especially I'm talking about surgeons, periodontists, endodontists, and prosthodontists. Those 4 specialty types are not used to doing online marketing, typically, historically. Orthodontists and pedodontists, they get it. They understand the importance, and they've been doing online marketing for quite a long time. But a lot of the other 4 specialists I just named, they assume, oh, all my business comes from referrals. So my website's not that important. That is absolutely false. The reason is, first of all, a lot of times your referring general dentists will give more than one surgeon or more than one periodontist that they should go see. If the patient has an option, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go online, they're going to do a Google search for your name and the other doctor's name, and he who has the best website is probably going to win. I guarantee this oral surgery group right here is losing a lot of patients, a lot of business because this website is so poor. That's a problem. Here's another example of a nice doctor in South Carolina. This one has some nice conversion elements. It's got, call us today, nice big phone number, easy to find, got their office hours and address. So that's all good stuff. Give them thumbs up for that. Some other things about this that are maybe not the most ideal. We've got this cartoon here in the middle, which is a little bit detracting. It's a little bit distracting. We've got 2 navigation bars. So we've got one across the top and the one on the left there in the maroon. That can be confusing for telling patients where to go and what to look for. Also, we've got some stock photos here. So while this website, I'd give it kind of a mixed grade here. We've got some elements that are good, some elements that are not so good. Okay. This is an office in Portland, or actually in the Portland, Oregon area. In Albany, it's about 45 minutes south of Portland, where our office is located. And Dr. Susan Wong, super nice lady. She came to us years back, and this was her website at the time. And this is a 1-page website. And as you can see, it's clearly not very good, right? It's kind of a mess. The contact information is like down in the bottom left, which nobody would be looking for it there, but you could find it, but it's just not ideal. But it's got no flow, it's got no design. It's a really bad impression of her business. And so she asked us, hey, can you create maybe a little bit better website for us? And so we said, yeah, sure. And so we just created she said, I just want a basic templated kind of thing. Now we do all the way from kind of semi-custom basic template stuff. Most of what we do is more high-end kind of custom design work, where we're really building custom websites because it performs better for online marketing. But in her case, she kind of wanted a semi-custom type site, and here's what we built. Now, if you look at this, you compare this to that, I think we would all agree this is better. Also, if you look at this, this just got your basic calls to action for conversion. Call for an appointment, right up there, easy to find. Contact us button in the nav bar, easy to find. Appointment request button right there in purple, easy to find. So this is not only going to look more professional and give her a professional appearance, but it's also going to be nice for converting leads. This is an office down in Texas, and again, this one it's really strong on conversion. If you take a look at this, phone number, nice big font, easy to see every single page of the website. Contact us button in the main nav. Call today again in the rotating banner there. Fat appointment request button that kind of stands by itself. It's very clear. Now, all four of those conversion elements are on every page of this website. Now, we can argue, do we like the design or not, and so forth. I'm not talking about design and aesthetics right now. I'm purely talking about data, about conversion. This website converts well because it's got all these clear calls to action. Now, here's a website in Texas that really ties it all together nicely, Dr. Radwanski. So if you look at his website a little closer, we've got the phone number up top. We've got an appointment request button that's easy to find up top. Actual photos, not stock photo, but an actual photo of the doctor with his staff. And then right below that, again, above the fold, you see there's a nice video, overview video about his practice. It's got all the things that we want to help with conversion. Custom photos, custom video, phone number easy to find on every page, appointment request button easy to find on every page. Those are kind of like some of the main primary things we'd be looking for. There are a lot of other things on here that are nice. We've got some nice calls to action. We've got if you notice at the top, we've got links to the review sites, Facebook, Google+, Yelp, and so on. So this is a site, it's a nice looking site, but more importantly, it's got the right calls to action to really get results. Now, what happens if you don't have a website? What's the conversion rate on that, right? I think we all know the answer to that one. It's not going to be very good. And so this is, again, where I talk with doctors. There's still a startling amount of dentists out there that either don't have a website or have kind of a poor, outdated website. And dentistry is doing nothing but getting more and more competitive. You've got corporate dentistry. You've got general dentists doing more specialty work. You've got specialists starting to do more of the marketing. It's just getting to be a crowded, difficult, competitive marketplace when it comes to getting patients. And so you simply cannot afford not to have a website anymore. And even if you've got one, it needs to be pretty solid. So these are things that we want to think about when we're talking about measuring results. I'm going to show a case study here in just a second. And when we talk about maximizing the return on investment and getting results, what's really important is to make sure that you're doing kind of a comprehensive strategy with your online marketing. There are lots, like I said earlier, there are a lot of ways to drive traffic to a website. That's all well and good, and we need to do that. SEO, pay-per-click, social media, reviews, all these things. And once we've got it, the website has to be designed. We have clients at WEO Media that spend over $10,000 a month in marketing, believe it or not. And on those clients, we are very, very concerned and meticulous about the conversion rate because doctors are spending thousands of dollars in those cases to generate leads to their website, and it's really important that we generate results, and so that the conversion on the website becomes really, really important the more dollars you spend on getting traffic. I'm going to show you a case study here. This is not a $10,000 a month kind of a client, but this client is at about $2,000 to $3,000 a month, so it's still a pretty solid budget. This is a client up in the Seattle, Washington area. They have a nice new website. It's optimized for lead conversion. They're doing search engine optimization and pay-per-click with us and some other things as well. But it's a very competitive market. So you can see when we launched the website, they were getting about 500 people a month to their website. And then within 9 months, we had increased that to about 2,000 people a month to the website with the same budget. We weren't spending more on pay-per-click month over month, and that's where the traffic came from. It's just the increase is due to the improvement in rankings on Google, and also other things we're doing for SEO. So the traffic is increasing. That's great. And when I teach seminars in person, I do a lot of lecturing in person, and I'll teach the class when they're looking at this. I'll say, okay, look at this graph. Were we successful? Did we do a good job for this doctor? And people will say, well, yeah, that's great. You increased the traffic. And I'll say, well, it's a bit of a trick question. If all we did was increase the traffic, but the office didn't get any more phone calls, now how would you answer that question? I said, well, yeah, maybe not. Maybe that wasn't an improvement. I said, well, yeah, the traffic is really quite meaningless, to be honest. Traffic can be misleading for a number of reasons. It might be the wrong kind of traffic, and traffic on your website doesn't reflect total traffic that's getting exposure on your business, because when we get traffic on Yelp and Google Plus and HealthGigs and some of these other things with SEO, that doesn't show up in website traffic, but it does show up here, and that's phone calls. So this is the metric that matters most. If we see phone calls going up or maintaining, maybe they've gone up and they're just maintaining at a level where there's a good return on investment, that's when we know we're having a good, successful situation. Sometimes, we'll work with clients and they want to have us do part of their SEO or part of their online marketing and not the other parts. And so we will definitely do our best in every case to get the best results we can. But for sure, we have the best results on clients where we have full control over all aspects of the online marketing. It all works better together. It's kind of like treatment planning. If you've got 3 or 4 doctors working on a case, sometimes that's necessary if you've got something really complicated. But if it's something that could be done by one doctor, it's going to be more efficient if it's done by one doctor. The same is true with online marketing. So we find when we can do everything together, we can get great results. Another thing we found here is that usually between 5% and 15% of these calls are going to be new patient appointments. So if we see 100 phone calls in a month, we're thinking, yeah, there's probably 5 or 10 new patients that got scheduled, and there may be as high as 15, but usually it's like 5 to 10% is pretty typical. So in this case, when we see 200 phone calls a month, I'm thinking, okay, these guys are probably getting, 15, 20, 25 new patients a month, something like that. And that's exactly what they were getting. So they had a really good result. And I'll show you their summary in a minute here. What I want to point out here is the conversion rate. The topic tonight is on conversion rate, and so I want to show you with this case study what's important here, because we just looked at the traffic going up, so that's great. And the phone calls are going up, that's great. But if we look back here at the actual raw data, the first 10 months of their campaign, we see, yep, phone calls are going up, traffic's going up, but if you look at that last column there, the conversion rate, what you'll notice is the first 3 months, the conversion rate was around 8 or 9%. Now, like I said earlier, that's not a bad performance. It's fine. It's okay. But we'd really like to get it over 10%. And so, we made some tweaks to the website, and then you can see what happened from month 4 and beyond. We're consistently like 11, 12, even had a 15% in their 1 month. That's great. We want to see that double-digit conversion rate whenever we can, because the doctor is paying us a set budget every month. What we're trying to do is get a better and better ROI for that doctor over time. That's the goal. It's not always possible. We don't bat 100%. We try our best, and we're a really honest, transparent company. But when things all line up and work well, we can get really great results. And this is an example of measuring that conversion rate. Now, if you look at this, if this doctor would have stayed at 9%, he still would have had fine results. He still would have had a good ROI, and he would have never known that we optimized his conversion rate and got him a better result. But that's just kind of why we view online marketing as so critical to be technically savvy on this stuff, is if you're not tracking, traffic, phone calls, conversion rate, all these little things, that's how you get good results over time for folks. You got to pay attention to the details. So here's a summary of what happened for this doctor. Huge increase in traffic. Is that good? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the phone calls, right? Well, yeah, we saw a big increase in phone calls, so that's a great result. Conversion rate kind of held steady between 10 and 15%. We're very happy with that. And the end result was what really matters. They were getting about 20 to 30 new patients a month from the online marketing. The office overall was getting about 70 to 80 a month total, but they attributed 20 to 30 to us. And that seemed about right with what I was calculating as well. Their spend ranges between $2,500 to $3,000 a month between SEO and pay-per-click and reviews and stuff like that. So the return on investment here, right, if we talk about what's my patient acquisition cost, normally I would say for general dentists, orthodontists, and some perio type stuff. We're usually between $100 and $200 a new patient. Pedo is going to be less than that, typically quite a bit less than 100, maybe 40, 50 bucks a new patient. And then oral surgeons, it might be more like 500 or 1,000, depending on what we're going after. Maybe we're going after a big, full mouth reconstruction. That can be a lot more expensive to get patients. But we talk about your garden variety. Let's rank high on Google and Bing, and let's get good traffic. If we can get patient acquisition costs between $100 and $200 a patient, that's really solid, because a patient is typically going to, for a general dentist, a patient is going to be worth about $1,000 a year, according to the ADA. That's kind of an average, a national average for general dentistry. For orthodontists, obviously that number is going to be a lot higher. For periodontists and oral surgeons, that number is going to be a lot higher. So it really just kind of depends. But in general, it's about return on investment. That's the bottom line, right? So we want to track this stuff, okay? So in summary, to get good results from your online marketing, in particular as it pertains to your website conversion, like we talked about, we want to have a nice modern design, not too cluttered. It's got to be clear, like, where do my eyes go when I come to this website? Oh, there's the phone number, there's the appointment request button. I can find what I'm looking for, right? Clear calls to action. We want to use actual photos and videos, minimal use of stock. We want to have a tracking number. Now, you'll notice in that SEO case study I showed you, I was showing phone calls. Well, how do we know the phone calls from the website? Well, what we do is we implement what's called a phone tracking number. We do this with every SEO client as long as they agree with this, and they usually do. So probably at least 95% of our SEO clients let us use tracking numbers, which we always recommend. What it is, it's a local area code. So since we've been talking about Seattle, I'll just stay on Seattle. Seattle's got 206 and 425 area codes. So let's say we've got a doctor who's in a 206 area code. We're going to put a 206 area code tracking number on his website or her website. And when people call that number, it's going to immediately route to their actual phone number. But by passing through our tracking software, we can see, and the office can see, by the way, too, how many calls are coming from our online marketing efforts. And it's not to say that if we got 100 phone calls, that means we got them 100 new patients. That's absolutely not what that means. Remember I showed that earlier slide, between 5 and 15% of the phone calls are new patients. So we're not trying to take credit for 100% of those calls, right? It's more like 10% is more realistic, something like that. But we got to use those tracking numbers so we can understand the data, which helps us understand return on investment. Is this working or not? If a doctor's paying us $1,000 a month, $2,000, $5,000, whatever the number is, we want to try to quantify those results. And we really have to try to partner with people. If the doctors will talk with us on a monthly or bi-monthly basis with their SEO managers, we can get them good results over time. It's a good collaboration that way. I didn't elaborate on what's called a KPI today, Key Performance Indicator. We have key performance indicators such as traffic, phone calls, conversion rate. Those are some key performance indicators. But when you're doing marketing, you want to identify what are your key performance indicators in the office. Certainly new patient call appointments would be one. How many got booked would be another one. But this is kind of more of a general marketing recommendation here. Any marketing you're doing for your practice, be it direct mailers, online marketing, internal referrals, all those are great things to do, and you probably should be doing all of those things. Make sure that you have some sort of tracking mechanism so that you can understand. Obviously, every new patient comes in the door, you want to ask them how they heard about you. That's fundamental. Enter that information into your practice management software, run the monthly report, and see where your new patients are coming from. You have to have that knowledge. And then once you get that knowledge month over month over month, you can start understanding what's really driving those results, right? And then this last point here that I always want to make, and I harp and harp and harp on this when I lecture with folks, is look, marketing is an investment, not a cost. Your CPA is going to tell you it's a cost. I will disagree with your CPA. Yes, it's a cost, technically, that's right. But it's an investment, right? If you buy technology for your office, is that a cost? Well, sure, but it's an investment in your practice. We pay our staff. Why? Well, that's an investment in our practice. We have to have the things that are going to make our practice successful, and they cost money, right? Not everything is a good use of money. If you buy a CEREC machine and you never do any work with it, that was a waste of money, right? If you buy a periolaser and you never do any laser treatment, that was a waste of money. So not every investment's a good investment. I will grant you that. But in general, we know equipment, building, staff, marketing, those are things that are going to return an investment and make you money, right? So track the results, make sure that you're getting a return on your investment, and that's how you can make better and better decisions over time so you can ultimately get a good return on your investment. We've covered, kind of scratched the surface on some of the stuff. We can go a lot more detailed for folks. Obviously, this is not a a setting to do that. This is just more of a webinar. But if you would like a live consultation with one of our consultants, just send us an email to info@WEO Media. Either myself or one of our consultants will be happy to talk with you and answer your questions about your website. Is it converting well? Is it ranking well? What about those reviews on Yelp? How do I get a video? What's the best idea for Facebook practices? We can help you with all that stuff, right? So just send us an email. We're happy to help. Also, we like to do these webinars. We like to try to educate folks on this stuff. Go to our website. There's a webinars button on our website in the main navigation, or you can just type this in directly, weodental.com/webinars, and you can see our upcoming webinars and register for them. If you're on our e-newsletter, you'll get a kind of a monthly notification about it anyways. I just wanted to throw that out there. So at this point, what I'd like to do is I'll leave the screen up here for a couple of minutes. People can jot down my information. You can send me a personal email, send me a text message, whatever you'd like to do. If you have questions, we want to make sure everybody attending the webinar this evening gets all your questions answered. Again, I typically don't answer the questions live on the webinar because it's just usually we found that the quality of the sound is really hard for people to hear. And so we find it's just kind of cleaner if we just follow up and answer your questions on an individual basis. So really appreciate everybody attending the webinar this evening. I'm going to leave this slide up here for a couple of minutes, but we look forward to seeing you on future webinars, and please do reach out to us if there's anything we can help you with your marketing. Thanks for attending, and good evening.